So here we are again, Mary.
I know.
Yep, the Wise Owl Wans. Hey. So it's been a few days since we got together in our cup of tea. Listen, you've got a lovely mug there.
I have. Well, I have to say, I know your house is beautiful. It really is. And
thanks.
A lot of your cutlery is very nice, but this one really intrigued me. And I'm going to put my glasses on for this one.
Okay.
And this is for all you listeners out there, how much of a rhyme this woman is. It says, there was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, her fanny fell off. That's what I'm drinking out of, ladies and gentlemen. And
Anyway.
I bet you was Marion that bought that.
I bet it was. Certainly wouldn't be me. I didn't find that funny when she brought it home. But anyway, just going to continue on for a few minutes and getting to know you. Because I know the listeners, I think we assume that people know us because of what we do.
Well, they see us all the time on television.
But I think I'm more interested in getting to know the person behind a character or a person behind the performer. So you don't mind me asking you a few questions, do you?
Oh my God.
And, well, what makes you happy, Mary?
Very little things make me happy.
Yeah.
It's like being at home with my pyjamas on, my daughter there, a few little goodies on a Saturday night or something like that, and it's cold out, and watching a good black and white movie, or just an old movie on the telly.
Oh, I love the old movies.
It brings me back to a much simpler time in my life.
And do you think, I mean, they say the Irish are very nostalgic. Do you think that's more to do with because it's comfort?
Oh, definitely comfort. I mean, like, I grew up in a house where all I ever watched was black and white movies and musicals and
brilliant.
Like Saint Bernadette, that film Saint Bernadette.
Yeah.
That film, still in my mind, I still see it. I can see her going into being the nun. I can see her with the bad leg. Now, a lot of people probably won't even know what I'm talking about, but it's the movie about Bernadette who's seen Her Lady at Lourdes.
Oh, right.
And it was just a beautiful film. It never left me head. Never left me head. And the same way we were talking earlier on about a movie that's one of your favourites.
Oh, Fried Green Tomatoes.
Yes, and the other one, the old one with James Jordan.
Oh, yeah, It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah,
I have to watch it every Christmas.
And I watch it every Christmas too.
Yeah,
and because it brings us back to when we had Mammy and Daddy there.
Absolutely. And we had Sodol.
Yeah, and now that we're older, we see the meaning of the movie.
Absolutely, yeah.
So the meaning of the movie for me is that, this man has absolutely nothing. He's lost everything. He's in dire straits. And when he comes back down to his senses, he realises he's one of the richest men in the world because he has all these friends who are willing to help him out of this thing. That's the beauty of it. The beauty of this. So I love all them type of movies. I love some really old, some new ones as well, but that movie and Saint Bernadette just stands out for me.
Are you religious, Mary?
I wouldn't go to mass a lot.
Okay.
Easter, Christmas, I remember talking to our local priest in the Sumpson Church, and I said that to him. I said, I don't go to mass, Father. And his words to me were, look, what do you believe? And I said, I believe in Jesus. Okay. And he says, and where is he? I said, in here. And he said, and that's all you need to know. He says, as long as you do good to others and you keep up your faith. Not everybody comes to mass every week.
Okay.
So that kind of gave me, it didn't give me, I didn't get that he was saying to me, you don't have to come to mass. Yeah. He was just saying that what you believe in is what really
Absolutely.
matters.
So the rituals that we were brought up to aren't as important.
No. Well, they're nice to be there.
To keep your faith.
Yes. No, your faith is inside you.
Absolutely.
Your faith is your spirit. And it's that spirituality that you have and you bring to others. That's what I believe in. Yeah. And being kind and trying to do the right thing even when you don't want to, and trying to be just try to be kind to people, because you could be walking down the streets, and you know this yourself, walking down the streets and you meet somebody and they just look normal and you say hello to them and you can see a brightness in their eyes. Yeah. Obviously something in their poor head is rolling around. Yeah. And you're there saying good morning to them. It gives them a lift. Yeah. So, just being nice to people is one of the most, for me, is one of the nicest things I can do in this world. And that's the truth.
You have a really big heart, Mary, haven't you?
Listen, I tell you, sometimes it weighs me down when I can't kind of sort out the way I feel, that kind of way. Yeah. But I want to ask you a question.
Go on.
Who was your first role
Role
First
model.
role model. God, I know, I'm the same. I can never think of who it was.
Well, you see, a lot of people think it's got to be a film star. It's got to be. I suppose
no.
really my first role model was my mother, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Because she was quite a formidable lady. She was quite a strong woman. Yeah, she was very much, and she was very much for women's rights, women's and children's rights.
Yeah.
And she was never afraid of challenging.
Good.
You know, she would challenge, she could cut the legs from under you with her words. She powerful.
We need more of those women around.
Yeah, and she had a powerful command of the English language, right? And actually, she could actually make you feel, used to make me feel very inadequate, which is kind of a contradiction in terms of why would she be a role model if at times she made you feel inadequate? Because did I want to be like her? No, I didn't want to be like her. I wanted to have her confidence.
Yes.
I wanted to have her courage.
Yeah.
The one thing she gave me was to never give up. And never, just because you can't do something doesn't mean you can't do something.
Yes.
There's always somebody out there. If you need to know something, and you don't know it, there's somebody out there who does.
Yeah.
You have to ask the question.
Well, then she was a role model.
Absolutely.
She taught you that.
Yeah. You have to ask the question.
I mean, my parents they would have been my role models for different reasons.
Yeah.
My mum she was a small woman, and she never really she never stood up to anything.
Okay.
She was kind, she was just soft and gentle.
Yeah.
But I remember one particular time I had this unmerciful row with a girl on the road, and she called me a whore.
Oh.
And I remember coming home and crying to my mother.
Yeah.
Now, I was 22 at the time. No, I was 19, sorry, I was 19.
Yeah.
And my mother just said to me, don't be minding her, don't be listening to her. So I went to bed and went to work the next day, and I got up, came home that evening, and my mother said to me, everything is sorted. And I'm looking at this little woman with skinny legs.
Yeah.
And I said, what do you mean? She said, just take my word for everything is sorted. And the next thing, a knock came to the door. And it was this girl coming to apologise to me and said she was completely out of order. And apparently my little mother had gone to the house and said to this girl, you take my daughter's name in vain again and I will bring you to court. And the girl nearly wet herself on the stairs.
Yeah.
Now, she didn't do that all the time, but when she did it, it just meant so much because it proved that she was a woman who loved her children.
Oh, absolutely.
And didn't, she didn't have an awful lot in life.
Yeah.
So, for that act of kindness that she did for me is what I try to do every day in my life, standing up for people who are hurt.
Absolutely.
And that's what I try to do.
Yeah.
So it's I have a lot of role models in my life, and a lot of them are women.
Yeah.
Who went out there and stood
Changed
up.
the world for
changed the world for us.
Yeah.
And gave us the chances we have right now at this point in time.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's why we are where we are at the moment.
Yeah. And I think it starts with our mothers.
Course
And
it
even
does.
for men, it starts with their mothers.
Definitely does, yeah.
And I agree with you. I think it is very much like, they're the women who pushed the world in front of them against all odds, because they were living in a time, Mary, when women were supposed to be barefoot and pregnant.
Oh yeah. Have the dinner ready for the husband when he came
Absolutely.
home.
Have the dinner ready on the table when he comes home. Don't question. Don't.
Back to kids, put them to bed.
Absolutely, put all of that.
And be ready then to be the lover as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. But I mean, I think I was very fortunate in so much as I had a mother who kind of didn't conform to any of that.
Yes.
And a father who also didn't conform. She was very lucky because she had this wonderful man who absolutely idolised her. But he did most of the cooking and the cleaning and the washing and getting us ready for school. And so we had, it went against what was going on in society at the time.
It went against what the Catholic Church was telling people.
Oh, absolutely. But most of my friends, right, their father, not that they all had bad fathers, but they were coming home from work and they'd pop into the pub first and then they'd come home.
Yeah.
My father rarely went to the pub.
No, mine
he did
either.
on a maybe on a Friday night he played cards with his friends.
That's
and
allowed
so
to
on,
working
so forth.
hard all the week.
Absolutely. And he'd have a few pints maybe on a Sunday evening with my mother.
Yeah.
But rarely was he a big drinker in any way, shape or form. So they did co-parent very well together. And he never felt... I mean, I used to come home from school and my father would be standing there with an apron on. Seriously.
Yeah,
Standing at the hall door, leaning on his sweeping brush, right?
Yeah.
With his fag in his mouth, and he'd be talking to the neighbour
neighbour.
next door. How are you doing, Nellie? Are you nearly finished? Oh, Jesus, I've got the floors to wash upstairs. And it just, when I think about it,
Yeah.
I go, oh God, you were so lucky to have that. Now, obviously, I went on and married a man I thought would be just like my father. I was terribly disappointed. Anyway, that's another story.
Yeah, but I get you. My dad was in the army for a long time. He cooked in the army, and for long before I was born, the twins were born at this stage.
Yeah.
And when he left the army, he started to work on building sites and stuff. And he cycled everywhere.
Yeah.
But he'd come home in the evening. My mum would have the dinner ready for him.
Okay.
But he'd get up and wash the dishes.
Oh yeah,
And he'd be at to put in a hard day's work building.
Yeah.
And at the weekends, my mother didn't have to cook anything. He'd do the Sunday dinner. He would do the Saturday breakfast and Sunday breakfast. Oh yeah, I mean that's the type of man he was. He wouldn't hang out washing because he never had a clue. He used to say, if I hang that out, it's going to be left or something. So man would do that.
Yeah.
But in the religion that we were in back then, going back to the Catholic Church and the way women were looked down on.
Absolutely.
And men were made to be, you had when you married a man in the Catholic Church.
Oh yeah.
If you went to the priest and said, my husband's, beaten me or something.
Oh yeah.
He would say, you're married and it's your duty to be there.
What are you doing to wind them up?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you'd be blamed on it. Mm-hmm. So we've come, it's still probably some of that happens out there, but I think we've come much further now.
Yeah.
And because we've seen our parents being able to do that.
Absolutely. Yes.
Look after the children,
And
both
look
of them,
after
while
each
both
other.
of them are working, and look after each other and love each other. My father never opened his pay packet. He'd come home, hand his pay packet.
Was exactly the same.
Yeah, and hand it to my mother. She'd take out the slip with all the money on it, and she'd look at it, and then she'd give him his few bob for the weekend to go. Papa, every Monday, my dad's suit and his shoes, my brother's suits and shoes, were all wrapped up in brown paper and brought into Queen Street Pond.
That's right.
On the 79 bus, and I remember going with her. But I never felt that we were lacking in
They'd
anything.
be taken out then on a Saturday in time for Sunday
Definitely
mass.
taken in, definitely. And then the shoes would be polished up again and out they go. I have to say, we lived a life with very little, but we had an awful lot.
Absolutely.
Because we never realised what other people had.
Yeah, no.
And when you'd see, there was a family on Ayr Road who had a car. Now, a car back in the day when I was a young girl was very rare indeed.
Yeah.
And they would go down to Rush for their holidays. Now, I thought Rush was miles out. It was in the country somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'd never go anywhere. Except my dad had put us on the bike sometime. He'd have me on the crossbar, and my brother Willie on the back, and he'd cycle us down to the Phoenix Park. That was our holidays.
Yeah.
But I still never thought I missed that.
I never felt hard done by.
No.
And I remember our holiday, again, a bit like yours, we'd go out to either Dollymount or Donabate. I remember we had a massive holiday. And it's only a day trip I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
And my mum had organised a minivan, to take us all out. And my dad had taken the day off work. Very rare thing. And it was a day, obviously, in July when the kids were off school. And I remember we all got ready. We all piled into this van, took us out to Donabate. It wasn't a nice day, right? Dropped us all off and went. And he was told to come back about 4:30 or 5 o'clock or whatever. And when I say it peed out of the heavens, I mean it peed out of the heavens. So we're trying to have this day trip.
Yeah.
And I remember being in the sea, having a great time, rain and all.
Because it would have still been warm, but just
it was
rainy.
nowhere for them to shelter. So eventually, my mother's sister, my namesake, Auntie Eilish, she was the only one with the car.
Right.
And because she'd no children, and she came out about 2 o'clock, I think it was, to try and rescue some of us. And then she was able to go off and make a phone call and get the driver to come out early. So we had to go back to the house. I would imagine we got back to the house about 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then my father just put the blankets all over the one room, the sitting room, on the floor, and that's where we had our picnic. Right.
There you
now,
go.
do I ever think I never had a holiday? Poor me, no.
No, me neither.
And we just played out every day. We had so much freedom, which kids don't have.
Yes,
today.
no, they don't have that. You don't. It's very sad to walk down my local streets.
Yes.
Where I used to play.
Absolutely.
And not
see
a child
any-
on the road.
Isn't that?
You know.
Isn't that sad?
And I remember when it'd be really bad out, my mum would get 2 chairs together and make a camp.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she'd stick in
And the
whatever
weather-
we wanted. And we were out camping, me and my mother.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just the little crazy things like that.
Yeah.
That, you know, the kids today wouldn't even understand.
No.
And probably,
no.
you know, probably they did try it while they're young enough.
Yes.
They'd get used to it and that would be their fun.
Yeah.
But it is sad. It's sad to walk down, even the parks. Now, there's a playground built just across the road from me, a bit up from me. And sometimes I'm walking down the shops and you can hear the children, you know, when they're off school and their mummies and daddies have them there.
Love hearing kids play.
But what you see is mum and dads all around them.
Yeah. Oh,
Not
I
like
know.
us. We used to just go down.
No.
I mean, we could have been kidnapped 50 times over.
Yeah.
We'd probably give them back the next day, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
The fact still remains that they can't even leave their children out in the playground.
No.
And there's a lot of reasons for that. You know, it's not just because they're overprotective. I mean, I would have been the same with my young one.
Yeah.
But it is sad to see that the fear is in the parents too.
Yeah, but it is fear, and is it well founded? Because, you know, I don't think. I think we overreact.
Yeah.
I really do, and I think there's very few opportunists, you know, male or female, who actually take advantage of a kid they don't know.
Yeah.
Normally, if a child is taken, it's taken by somebody they know.
Yeah.
And when I say normally, if you look at the percentage of figures. So I kind of go, why are we so kind of... And I mean, I have grandchildren now, Mary, and I worry when I'm looking after them.
Yeah,
you know?
of course.
You know, if they're running down the stairs, I'm like, oh, don't run down the stairs. I couldn't have cared less when my own were.
That's it, yeah. But I mean, I have a grand
Be
cat.
swinging out the chandeliers and saying, now watch that live wire there now. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I have a grand cat.
Yes.
And I have to watch her going down and make sure he doesn't fall down the stairs because my daughter would kill me. That's my, you know, into grandmotherhood.
Absolutely. Yeah. I want to ask you, how do you feel about growing old?
Oh, sometimes it gets you. Sometimes it gets you down because, you know, you still feel for me, in my mind, I'm still pretty young.
Yeah.
I do not feel my age.
So you don't feel an age?
No.
Okay.
And I keep thinking I can do the same things that I used to do, and then you realise you can't.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it can get you down when you're growing old. I mean, all men and women will feel it at some stage. I think what we should do to keep ourselves, you know, alive inside is to get out and do things.
Yeah.
Is to get out and experience life still, because years ago when our parents got old and when women and men got old, they really didn't have a lot to do except go to the pub or go to mass. And that's not enough.
Yeah.
You need to be doing other things, and that's why I'm so blessed that I got into this side of the business.
Absolutely.
I mean, look what we're doing now.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
If I wasn't here, I'd be sitting at home watching the telly and probably going around the twist. I wouldn't be going out singing at the weekends and doing all of that.
Yeah.
The only part of growing old for me is the body. It starts to ache a lot.
Yeah, I agree with you. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't feel an age. Like you,
No,
I definitely do not feel an age.
No.
However, there are some days my body tells me
Yes.
I am an age.
Yeah.
But I couldn't put a number on it.
No, me
You got
neither.
me? I couldn't say, oh, well, that's being a certain age.
Yeah.
Right? And no, I'm not about to tell you how old I am, okay? So, yeah, and I have to remind myself
That you're
that
a
I
certain
am an age.
I do have to do that
you?
sometimes, yeah.
And I
Yeah.
go, and I suppose I find when I'm shopping for clothes or anything, and I go, oh, I can't get that because that's too young for me. And I hate when I say that to myself.
Yeah, I mean...
And I go, what are you talking about? It's too young for you. But so it's that kind of thing. You check yourself.
Of course you do.
Right?
You're checking yourself all the time. Yeah.
So, but I, it's not all cracked up. Listeners, getting older is not all cracked up. It's not, what am I trying to say, Mary? It's not all it's cracked up to be.
Yes.
Right? I try to be like you. I try to be really, really positive, and I'm very fortunate that I do what I do, and I love doing.
That's what I'm saying. We are
very, very fortunate. But I don't like getting old. I don't like the number.
I don't like the number either.
And I don't like what it indicates or
but what it indicates to the world, not to me.
Absolutely.
I mean, because I reach a certain age, it's not me that feels that I can't do certain things. It's the
body.
society.
Yeah. Oh, yes. It's the body and society who say, no, sorry, you're too old for that.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I'll work as long as I possibly can. As long as my voice is strong, and as long as I have a bit of talent inside me, and I have people who will give me work and stuff, I will do it. And if I'm 80 when I'm doing that,
absolutely,
that's fine. Yeah. You know, obviously at 80 years of age.
Well, look at Shirley Bassey doing her last show.
There you go. She was outstanding.
Oh, for God's sake, absolutely fantastic.
You know, and I mean, there's so many people out there. I know the different people, and what you're going to hear now is you're going to hear people saying, oh yeah, well, she has the money to do this and she's the money. We don't need money to look after ourselves.
No.
What we need is to take care of our skins, to get plenty of sleep as much as we possibly can. To eat as properly as you can, have the odd drink and enjoy it. When I go away on holidays now, I'll probably drink nearly every night.
No.
Oh yes, I would.
You're surprised.
I refuse not to drink when I'm on holiday.
Hey, well, I was with you. Hold on a second.
But when I'm home,
yes,
it's a different story.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, holidays are holidays, aren't they?
I mean, we were away in Tenerife.
Absolutely.
Yourself and myself and the gang of us.
Totally.
And we drank every night. I mean,
different.
you fell asleep one night. I was falling down the steps. The next day I was that tired. You know, and that's what and we still think we're the same age as everybody else around us.
I know.
And we're not.
I know. But we held up our own.
Listen, we gave it a good bloody shot.
We gave it a good shot. We held up our own. But you're dead right. You get home and the whole thing kind of stops.
Yes.
And because you need the rest.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
I mean, even when we were younger, you'd go on a holiday and your holiday was supposed to be a restful holiday. It was never a restful holiday.
Right.
You were out drinking every night of eating, dancing with every fella you could find.
Yeah.
And you came home and you went straight back to work. We can't do that anymore.
No, I know.
But we can still go away and have a ball.
Well, I remember as a teenager, even right up to my 40s, I remember, entertaining friends, especially my girlfriends. We'd have a girly night. They'd come round. We all had dinner. Everybody would bring somebody would bring a starter, main course, whatever, and we'd sit there. When I remember getting home at about 5:30 in the morning, when the milkman was delivering the milk, and I'm trying to creep in and get into bed without my husband realising it's 5:30 in the morning. And then I would 2 hours later get up and go to work.
Yeah.
Now, I really wouldn't choose to do that now, and I couldn't do that.
Well, we couldn't do it now.
No.
You know, I have done it in the past. Could I do it now? I couldn't, no.
Have you ever had to deal with an addiction?
Yeah, it was an addiction around in my family. My brother was an alcoholic.
Okay.
And it was the roughest thing in the world to watch someone you love, literally put themselves into a situation where they just couldn't come out of.
Yeah.
And I was affected by that alcohol. I mean, you go back to once again going back to when I was young, there was always parties in our houses, and there was always, every weekend there was a party and drink was involved. Mm-hmm. And my brother Willie he's 6 years older than me, and he was pretty heavy on the alcohol.
Yeah.
I mean, he became he doesn't even remember half the stuff he did.
Okay.
He became not violent, but screaming at himself.
Yeah.
He was so angry at himself for what he was doing to himself. And it was hard. It was hard to watch. So now that I am of a certain age, I didn't realise it many years ago. Now, because I've sat and spoke to him, and he's now a sober alcoholic, 37 years.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Since Deborah was born,
well done,
he gave
Willie.
up the drink. Yeah. And but he sits and talks to me, and I say to him, well, I can't understand why I feel this way and that way. And he says, Mary, you feel this way and that way because you lived with an alcoholic. Okay. Because you were affected by that disease.
Okay.
And you didn't even realise it.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise it.
Yeah.
But apparently the family of alcoholics are affected by the alcohol themselves. Mm-hmm. And there's a thing in AA, which my brother is a huge, he's in AA and he sponsors and the whole lot. the place called, it's Al-Anon, is for the families.
That's right, yeah,
of
I joined,
alcoholics.
yeah.
I wouldn't go to them. I don't, because I didn't think I was affected. But now, if I didn't know how to deal with it,
Yeah.
I would go now because I'm of that age.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a hard time. It was a hard time for him, and it was heartbreaking for my mother and father and myself, because we were the last 4 left in the house.
Yeah.
And it did. It took an awful lot out of us, and
It's very hard to live with. I mean, my first husband was an alcoholic.
yeah,
And that was very hard because it took me years to actually even recognise that he was an alcoholic. And I remember phoning the AA to say, look, I think he might be an alcoholic. So he asked me to describe a day in our lives, and I did. And he said, I have to tell you, he said, you phoned and said, you think? He said, I can guarantee you, he said, I'm not bullshitting you. He said, he is an alcoholic.
yeah,
And I said, well, what do I do? He said, well, you started the conversation off by saying you had problems in your marriage. Well, he said, I have to tell you, you're not going to be able to sort them out while he's an alcoholic.
Yeah, exactly.
So and honestly, this was the advice he gave me. Now, I don't know whether it would stand true today. And he said, well, what I want you to do is go upstairs, pack your case, get the boys, get yourself away from there. That's the only thing you can give your husband. And I went, I can't, I'd nowhere to go.
Yeah.
You know, and to me it seemed so drastic. But he was right. You cannot help an alcoholic.
No, you
can't help anybody with an addiction.
They have to hit rock bottom themselves.
They have to hit rock bottom
something
themselves.
has to change in their lives to bring them back. I mean, for Willie, it was the day I brought Deborah in as a newborn baby, and he just took to her like a duck to water, and he fell in love with her. And he eventually went to AA. And I think AA, as far as from what I've heard of my brother speaking about it, they're a very spirit, they walk on the spirit.
Yeah.
You know, but they're very straight. And if you go into AA thinking, you know, they're going to be nice to you, there's no way they're going to be nice to you.
No.
And it is one of those programs that work all over the world.
I know it is.
Now, there's loads of other programs that go around the world and that are in Ireland.
Yeah.
But if it was me and I was in that situation, I would definitely go to AA, because they don't make you. You stand up in front of everyone and you tell everyone you're an alcoholic, and then you start to talk about your life. But Willie was saying when he was sitting there, he couldn't believe, like he'd hear someone say something and he'd go, oh my God, that's exactly like I am. Yeah. And he started, that's when the whole realisation of what he was doing to himself and those around him came from being in an AA meeting. And he now will have he will sponsor somebody now, or he'll have them on the phone to him. So he's doing good work now. He's given back what he got from the AA and from his spiritual feeling because the AA apparently say, you know, give it up to God. Yeah. You cannot on your own change this.
No.
This is something that has to be done by a power that's stronger than you.
Yeah.
Whether it be the universe or God,
universal energy, whatever you believe in,
feeling you believe in. Yeah. That's what they think. And I to see him now, I'm very, because I mean my mother and father took sick. He was the last in the house with them. I used to come down every day. Yeah. But if he was ever going to go back on the drink, that's when he would have done it, when my mother was sick. Yeah. And I used to go down and change her, and he'd wash her. Aww. And then when Daddy wasn't well, we both did the same thing again. But he spent the majority of the time with them. And I remember the day my father died, and he said to us in Cherry Orchard Hospital, I just wish sometimes I didn't wake up. And I said, Willie, if you hadn't have woke up, who would have looked after those? You have paid for everything that because he felt guilty about what he had put them through. Right. Yeah. And I said, but you've paid them back 100 times over. 1,000 times. Yeah. And I said, look at the man you've become. Yeah. And even to this day, he is that strong man.
And that lovely man.
Now, he has his moments.
Yeah, we all do. Listen, we all do.
Runs away
and
with
is he the only brother you have, is it?
No, I've 2 other brothers, Tomo and Jimmy. Now, Tomo was a bit of a heavy drinker, but he gets through it. He's like one of those heavy drinkers that can get on with life, and you wouldn't think he was heavy on the drink. And Jimmy is my sister's twin, so they're just, you know, they're okay. They're not bad. They don't.
So
drink.
How many of you were in the family?
5 of us. Yeah, 3 boys and 2 girls.
How did they feel about your fame?
Well, Willie is very proud of me, I have to say. I'm very close to Willie. I'm much close to Willie. My sister was over the moon with everything that I've ever done.
Lovely.
I mean, even long before the X Factor, she was proud of me. She used to come and see me when I was singing with Tomo and stuff. And Jimmy and Tomo, the exact same. And Tomo and myself, we worked together for years. So yeah, they're all very... Tomo was very proud of me, I have to say, because me and him, he kind of got me back out there singing.
Right, yes.
Which gave me the courage then to go for the X Factor. So they all had a part to play in what I'm doing today. So no, they were good times.
Did you go for the X Factor yourself, or did somebody say, here, Mary, come with me? You know what I mean? Because that sometimes happens.
I had done a little show called Nullick Number 1 on TG Cahir.
Right.
Which was a singing competition, and I won it. And my brother had gone in for it as well, and he didn't get anywhere. So I had won the show. Now, when I say I'd won the show, it was. I think we did a record called Shulat, which is You'll Never Walk Alone.
Yeah.
It didn't do well, right? But the fact was that I had actually gone for that, and my niece Elaine said to me, "Would you go for Britain's Got Talent?" And I said no, because I'm not British. Yeah. And at that time, there wasn't many Irish people going in for Britain's Got Talent. Yeah. So she came up with this wonderful thing. She said, would you not go for the X Factor? And I thought for a minute, and I said, I remember hearing Simon Cowell saying he wouldn't come back to Ireland. So I said, this is my way out of
Absolutely, because you said, so I'll do the
So I said, but I'll do it. If he ever comes back to Dublin, I'll do it, right? 2 years later, he came.
He did come.
And she held me to it. And she put the application form in. And the rest is history. Crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And were you nervous? Did you have a backing?
Oh, I was in a heap. I had a huge backing with family and friends. Okay. But it didn't stop the nerves that were inside me.
Right, yeah.
But for some reason, somehow, somewhere along the line, courage and strength came. And I always believed that was because the day I set in, before Simon came back to Ireland, I was sitting at my till, and I turned around. It was a beautiful summer day out, and I remember turning around and saying, God, there has to be more to life than this. No. I said, you give me a voice, I'm back out there with my brother, but if there's anything else you want me to do, just open the doors and I swear I'll go through and I'll work hard.
And you did.
And 2 years later, those doors opened and I went through and I haven't looked back once.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So it's been a great
story.
Yeah. Now I want to ask you a question.
Oh God.
Are you proud to be a Dub, and why?
Oh, I am very proud to be a Dub. Because I think Dubliners have great heart. Mm-hmm. They have a great sense of humour. They're a very caring. I mean, I think the Irish are full stop. Yeah. But I'm talking about just being Dublin. Yeah. I love their friendliness. Yeah. And I lived in the UK for a lot of years. And when I came back, that was the thing that really kind of reminded me of what it was like to live in a community, because that's what the Dubliners, I always feel I'm in a community when I was in Dublin. And I'm lucky to live in an area now that to me is the heart of Dublin. I live so close to the city centre, and it's old Dublin. So it hasn't lost itself because of modernisation. It hasn't. Yeah. And I've great neighbours. We really support each other. Great crack, great local pub.
Isn't that beautiful?
Great fun. I'm what isn't, look, there isn't anything.
My heart is swelling here with pride.
But there isn't anything to dislike. You know what I mean? And I go, we are very, very fortunate. And I mean, when I lived in the UK, it took me years to actually settle in the UK. And I did make, and I still have some wonderful friends, but they're very conservative. And I found that I used to have people around for dinner, and I used to pop it in for teas, but I never got an invitation back.
Right.
Oh no, I mean, you'd get, you couldn't pop in. Do you know the way you can pop in? You couldn't pop into a friend's house in England. You would phone first and go, are you in? Any chance of a cup of tea? What I did admire about them was that if it wasn't convenient, no, sorry. So I'm just about to go out, or sorry, no, I'm too busy today.
So no qualms about it, I'm not in.
No qualms. Whereas the Irish say yes to everything, even when it is inconvenient. You know, when you call, you knock on the door, it's true, and you open the door and say, and you go,
Come
sorry,
in.
you're just about. No. In fact, come in.
coats
Come
off.
in. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it. Jesus Christ.
is true,
I
though.
just phoned my friend and tell her I'm going to be 2 hours late.
Yeah, that is true. That's
It
what we're
is,
like.
isn't it?
Yeah.
So I did admire. I was never able to develop that habit myself. Not habit, but a way. But I loved their honesty. I loved the straightforwardness of it. It wasn't. They weren't rejecting you. They weren't hurting you.
But just being honest.
Just being honest.
I'm heading out. I have
Sorry, I'm
something to
heading
do.
out.
Yeah.
Right, and I'm gone.
Yeah.
No, I can. Or they were great when you said, "Do you want to do such?" No. And I go, "Do you have to be so direct?" No. That wouldn't appeal to me at all.
But I'm sure
Whereas we're all going, "Well, that sounds nice." You know what I'm saying, Mary?
Yeah, I get you,
That
yeah.
actually sounds nice. You have no intention of
Yes,
doing it.
yeah.
But that actually sounds. When are you saying it?
Yeah.
When? Oh, Wednesday. Oh,
Yeah,
I don't know about
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Wednesday I'm doing my aerobic class. But what about if you do it on a tour, hang on tours? I know what we're like. That is exactly what we're like in this country.
Yeah.
But at some stage in England, I remember kind of looking, you see it on old programmes, where they had what we had during the war. And stuff.
Absolutely. And there's still, the further you go up north, Manchester, Birmingham, Newcastle, Glasgow, very like ourselves. Very community driven. Very,
It's sad though
It's more
that
down the
people-
south of England, which is a little bit more conservative.
Yeah, but it is sad that people let community go. I mean, community is what keeps a place safe.
Of course it is. Of course
because
it
we
is.
all watch out for each other.
Yeah.
That's what I believe in. Anyway.
Yeah,
No, I'm very
absolutely.
proud to be a Dublin woman. I'm very proud to be Irish.
Yeah.
Full stop. I mean, my mother, my grandmother, and my grandfather are country people.
Yeah. Are they?
Yeah. Well, when I say country now, people would say that's nearly it's only across the road from Dublin.
Yeah.
My granddad came from a place called Ballyadams in Laois.
Right.
And my grandmother was from Port Harlington
Okay.
in County Laois.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they met on the Crossroads. The Crossroads was a dance that used to go on, and my grandmother was a fiddler.
Yeah.
She used to play the fiddle.
Wow.
And my grandfather was, he had won the Irish set dance.
Yeah. Well.
And they met.
It was in the blood.
It's in the blood.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were. Her parents didn't like my granddad, because he only had a small farm.
Okay.
Where my grandmother was very wealthy,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they told her if she married him, she was her only child at the time. If she married him, they'd disown her, and they did. They disowned her. She was a nurse, and they disowned her. They went and lived in. Oh, I can never think of the name of it. Where was it now? Where's your mother come from? Harold's Cross. I could
Harold's
not think
Cross.
of Harold's Cross.
Very nice.
My grandfather owned he used to sell papers and sweets
Yes.
and stuff in a little shop. And my father and all used to get up during at 4 o'clock in the morning to deliver the papers. Mm-hmm. And my grandmother was a nurse. She worked in Stevens's hospital at the time.
Yeah.
And she went in for a gallstone operation and died at 45.
No.
Leaving all the kids, 7 boys and 2 girls, with my granddad, who then eventually, still owned the shop, but he drove the trams as well. He was one of the last people to drive he was the last person to drive the last tram
In Dublin.
into Dublin, into
Oh,
the docks,
wow.
into the
City
depot.
centre. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know I started this story, yeah. So, I have country blood in me,
Okay.
and I have Dublin blood in me. I'm proud to be a Dublin woman.
Okay.
I'm proud to have the mouth that I have, that I'm not afraid to say women are
You're
important
proud to
in this
have
world.
more front than Harrods, Mary.
Correct
Yeah.
and right there. Correct and right. And I'm proud to say that I'm an Irish woman through and through.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I do think the Irish people, and I mean, you just got to look around the world at the football guys who go away, that they're welcomed everywhere.
Absolutely.
They all drink too much and have a great old
Yeah.
time, but they don't, the majority of them don't cause trouble.
No.
They just,
No.
people love them coming in because they know they're just out for the crack.
Absolutely.
So that
Yeah.
says a lot for who we are
Yeah, yeah.
and what we bring to the world, I suppose.
Oh yeah,
you know.
what we bring to other
Societies, yeah.
and other countries. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very proud to be who I am, and I mean, I've lived in England too. I've been over there, I've met some lovely people, and I've met some people who just don't want to know him because I'm Irish.
Yeah.
And that's understandable.
Oh, yeah, I
because
had
of troubles and stuff like that. So, you know.
I mean, I do. I went to England in the 70s when it was still okay to say no blacks, no Irish need apply.
Yeah.
Now we're just on the cusp of change of the law being changed, but yeah, I was refused apartments and. Yeah, and when I got my first job as a telephonist, a GPO telephonist, I was really surprised I got the job because I'd just come off the boat and I was talking like that. Like I thought they'll never give me a job as an English GPO telephonist. Yeah. Anyway, I got the job, and I was telling you this for a reason, and I think I've had a blank out moment as well. But I actually got the job, and I was telling you this for a reason, and it's gone. Can you believe that? Come on, Mary, bring me back.
We were talking about
this is
the
a
Irish,
test.
the
Yes,
Irish, and the way we were treated. Yeah.
So, and they, I was, asked, what's your name? I said Eilish. And when I started working with the crew, there was I'd say there was a bank of at least 20 telephone operators.
Wow.
And I don't know whether they ever remember those.
I do remember the wires, yeah.
The wires
I remember seeing them on the telly and that, yeah.
And there's about 20 bank. And they said, I have Irish. And I said, no, Eilish. Irish. And I said, no, Eilish. We'll just call her Paddy. Now that was okay.
Oh my God.
That was okay. Like, I mean, that they felt that was okay.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'd rather you didn't do that.
Yeah.
And I said, my second name is Siobhan. Do you think you could manage that?
But isn't that sad?
Yeah. And so that's when they started calling me Siobhan. Yeah, and I remember one, and it is a funny story, and it might be one that we finish on today. Here's a funny story. We used to have the emergency lines, 999, and you got to do that stint maybe once in a shift, right? Because it was quite pressurised. You get somebody whose house was on fire, you had to connect them to, you had to stay online as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And you had to take notes on everything. And it wasn't recorded in those days.
No.
The operator was taking the notes. Anyway, this girl beside me says, she said, oh, I've got this fella on the phone and he's calling from a call box and he's Irish. And I said, oh yeah. And I can't understand a word he's saying. Oh. Right? This is what she said to me. I can't understand a word he's saying. And I think you'll have to take it.
Oh my God.
Right? So I said, okay. So she transferred the call across and I went in and hello. No problem understanding him. And you can push the button back,
Yeah.
I just went, there's nothing wrong with this man's accent.
Yeah.
You're just lazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, went on to take the call. So he said, listen, I'm in a call box, he said, and I've just put my money in. And he said, and it came out the other end. Oh. I said, oh, that's a pity, right? I never got connected. Okay, don't worry about it. So I said, I'll connect you. But I said, however, it's something like, maybe it was 2 shillings. It was a shilling if he did it himself.
Yes.
It was 2 shillings right. So I said, but it will cost you 2 shillings if you go through me. That's okay, I have it ready, no problem, right? So I said, now, had his caller on the other line. And I said, okay, I have your friend on the other line. If you put the 2 shillings in now, I'll connect you. He puts the 2 shillings in and it comes out.
Oh, for God's sake.
And he said, oh, for God's sake, it's only come out again, hasn't it? So I said, okay, don't worry about it. I said, put it in again, and if it doesn't work this time, I'll put you through anyway.
Yeah.
So he puts it in again. He said, it's only come out again. He said, now I'm going to put it again, he said, but make sure you catch it this time. Now, I just thought I wanted to share that with everybody, but I thought brilliant. You guys are not going to get this because I didn't know whether he was being funny or whether he actually thought that I'm sitting in this box.
I think he thought
catching the money.
He probably thought you were putting it in and you were jumping the back.
Yeah, catching the money.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Oh, it was
that's
really funny, really, really funny.
Oh, stop, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I have to ask you a question. Do you care what other people think of you?
I used to. And I'd be lying if I said to you, no, I don't care at all. Don't give a toss what other people think about me. But I'm less inclined to worry about it. It doesn't kind of keep me awake at night time.
So would you say that comes with age?
I think so, yeah, and I think it comes with experience. And I think you realise that, you know, why would I worry about what other people think about me? I mean, it's none of my business. You can't change what people think about you.
That's true.
And I think, again, because we're in the industry that we're in, there's a huge need to be liked.
Yes.
So, you know, there's a little bit of me thinks that if I want them to think about me in a positive way.
Yes.
I'd hate to think that they, you know, had anything negative to say about me. But that's the younger me.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't even cross my mind what people think about me. I actually am more aware that if people are, or somebody you know is being a bit off with you, whereas I used to think, oh my God, what have I done?
What have I done?
What have I said? Now I'm more inclined to think, I wonder what's going on in her head or his head. Is there a problem?
Well, because you know
home?
you haven't done it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not even that. I don't even allow myself go down that. If I have done something, then they should tell me. If they can't tell me, then I have done nothing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense,
Yeah,
Mary?
makes a lot of sense.
So
a
yeah,
lot of sense.
yeah, it used to, but now I'm getting much, much better at it. Life is too short to worry about what other people think about me.
Exactly. I mean, I would feel the exact same way you do. I remember being younger and wanting everyone to like me. And when someone would say, I don't like it, it hurt. It literally dug in like a knife in my heart. Now, all I want is people to say she's okay.
Yeah.
And if they don't think that, then I can't change their minds.
No, you can't.
And so I just get on with my life, and I thank those who care about me and and fans who come to see me.
Yes.
You know, they obviously like something about me.
Absolutely.
So
They
I
wouldn't be
accept
there.
that.
Yeah.
The ones, as you said, if I have a friend or somebody who's a little off with me and I know I've done nothing wrong, I obviously think there's something going down there.
Okay.
That's stopping them.
Yeah.
That has them in that mood. It's not me. And if it is, then it's their problem because I haven't done anything wrong.
Yeah.
So that's my question to you.
So, are you happy in your skin?
I never used to be.
Okay.
I never used to be. I mean, there was times when I'd sit and have a sob and a woe is me moment. And sometimes that still comes on. But right now at this point in time, I am happy with who I am. I'm in a much better place than I ever was, mentally. And also the positive.
Yeah.
I am so positive about my future.
Okay.
And that's a funny thing to say because when you reach a certain age in life, you don't think you have a future anymore.
Okay.
But I believe I have a future. And I believe that that future is going to be good. But it's up to me to make sure of it and keep the people around me who's willing to help me go forward.
Great.
And I am very happy in my skin at the moment.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Because my next follow-on question was going to be, do you worry about the future or do you look forward to it? But I think you've answered it.
Oh yeah, but still, I still worry about the future. I don't worry about my future.
Okay.
I worry about my daughter's future. I worry about, am I going to be there for her when she reaches a certain age?
Okay.
She's on her own. She lives with me.
Yeah.
She has her own way of living, and I've asked her a million times, why haven't you got a fella? And she's like, I don't want one. I've had enough of them. I've had them, and that's it. Yeah. I'm happy in my own skin.
Absolutely, that's fantastic.
I actually am in awe of her because I would have loved at 37 to feel that way.
Yeah, yeah.
But I didn't. She's
but a
37
man
and she
having
feels
a partner doesn't make you.
She said to me, if I meet somebody, I meet somebody. If I don't, I don't. And I said, but I worry about you being your own. Don't worry about me being my own.
Yeah.
I'm on my own when you're travelling around doing your work.
Absolutely.
I'm very happy with that. And, you know, she said, there's millions of people like me who live on their own and have a perfectly normal life.
Right.
And she puts my mind at ease. But I still worry about that. And it's only because, you know, I have her.
Yeah.
And I can't, I feel sorry that she doesn't have a child. But she's told me she doesn't want children.
There you
So
go.
I try not to worry about that. But I don't worry about my future. My future is up to me to make it.
Okay.
And people say when you reach a certain age, you shouldn't be thinking about your future. Your future's gone. My future is only starting.
I like that, Mary. Yeah. I agree. I absolutely 100. If you'd asked me the same question, I'd have given you the same answer.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's it. Do you want to do a few of them? Somebody sent in these slang words.
Oh, slang words.
Yeah.
Dublin slang words.
Slang
Are they?
words. Yeah.
Right. Oh, God, yeah.
Some of them are good. I was looking at them earlier.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's a few here that I kind of know. There's one, the Acting the Maggot.
Acting the maggot, yeah.
Yeah. The other one I love.
Does it say what it means, acting the maggot?
What?
Doesn't it say what it means? Where's
Yeah.
acting the maggot? Acting the maggot. Fooling and messing around.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd rather say, don't be acting the maggot, for God's sake.
Or don't be acting the Egypt.
Don't be acting the Egypt, yeah.
Or don't be acting the... No, I can't say that one. Don't be acting the bolo, okay?
The bolo, yeah,
The
the
bolo. And, he's got a bad dose.
Oh, yeah. The person is dying on the bed got a bad dose.
Oh, they got a bad dose. Severe. Well, actually, the meaning is severe illness.
Is it?
I mean, I've used that to describe something else entirely, right?
Yes, me too.
But, real bad dose. Yeah, surely she might not last the night. Anyway, and to make a bags or something. Bags.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, the
We
funny
don't
thing
use
is,
that, do we? Make a
we
bags
wouldn't
or
run around and say,
something.
"Gosh, shut the messing up really
Well-
bad." We would say, "Shut the making a bags of that, isn't you?"
Yeah.
That's the way we'd say
Or
it.
the hames of it.
Or a hames of it. Yes,
Making
that's
a
another
bloody
Dublin one.
hames of that
She
one.
made a bloody hames of that one, God bless her. Yeah.
Oh, well, now batch bread, I know.
What's batch bread?
Batch bread. Oh, you must thick bread, sometimes sliced already.
Oh, batch
A
bread.
big batch.
Oh, come here, there's nothing like
Nothing
batch
like
bread.
it.
And a turnover was another thing. Do you
That's-
remember the turnover
Well, that is
bread?
the batch bread, is it not?
No, the turnover was kind of, it was shaped like a shoe.
Okay.
It's funny now, a lot of people listening are going to say...
A boot.
A boot, that's what it was shaped like. It was a roundy back and then a
That's
little
right.
piece came out that way.
That's right.
And you cut it down there and you put the butter on it when it was hot and it melted in your mouth. So batch
Do you know what was lovely?
or a turnover.
And I love a batch loaf with a chippy sandwich.
Oh, you
Chips.
cannot. And the butter dripping down your fingers
Jesus,
and a big
it's
mug
good.
of tea.
Yeah.
That's the way to end the
That's what
evening.
you're having for dinner when this is finished, Mary. So just let you know. Bog ball. Never heard of that one.
What?
Bog ball.
Never heard. What's the
It's
meaning?
Gaelic football. Maybe the
okay, I
listener-
see. I don't know anything about Gaelic.
See, no, I don't either. Bulmers, legendary Irish. But that's not an Irish saying.
No, Bulmers is just cider. It's a nice.
I mean, I
big
love
drink.
like, yeah, what's the crack?
Oh, what's the crack? That is just the best.
That's
and
the
another
best
thing
one.
we used to say, and I still say to this day. Someone called me. I said, "What's the story?"
Yes, I
And
love that.
I remember a comedian one time, and I can't remember his name. And I went to see him in the Red Cow.
Yeah.
And he said, he said in Ballyfermot,
Yeah.
they're all great storytellers.
They are.
And we're all looking at them, and he goes, because every time you meet someone, they say, "What's the story?"
Well, I like this one. Eat the head off.
Oh,
Right?
Eat the head off.
Yeah, but I always remember that being used in, oh, look at him, isn't he the head of his dad?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that one? Like, he's the image.
Eating the head
and
off, that means when...
To give out to someone.
Yeah.
Right?
Like if your girlfriend is there
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
turns around and he says, "Shut the eating the head off me."
Yeah.
You know?
Earwigging.
That's a good one.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we never say, "I've just listened to see what they're saying."
Listen, yes,
Earwigging.
and to a private conversation and effing and blinding.
Listen, we
Yeah.
always effing blind.
Yeah.
And that's another thing as well. If the children were out coursing and swearing on the road, and the mum, and I always remember my mother coming out, "I heard you effing and blinding."
Exactly.
Whatever, effing and blinding.
Blinding.
The effing I can understand, but the blinding.
Sleeving.
Oh yes.
As my mother used to use
That's
that,
it.
sleeving.
And
it's
don't mind him, he's a dirty sleeving. Yeah. That's true though.
It is, yeah. What's a shower of savages? Now I know that was used more when I was growing up.
I remember that in the house.
Yeah.
My mum
Yeah.
would buy one of the Vienna rolls.
Right.
And she loved a Vienna roll with a real good butter on it.
Right.
And the lads would come in.
Yeah, and
that
she'd
second
say,
Vienna roll,
shower
she'd
of
get one
savages.
or two slices out
Yeah.
and they'd be going, "She's shower of savages."
Yeah.
Very true.
Our story is here. What's the story?
That's it. What's the
But
story?
it actually is hi.
That's what it is.
That's what it
Hello,
means,
what's the-
story.
So
I
when
never
get on
knew
the phone,
that.
I say, "What's the story?"
I didn't realise it meant hi.
Yeah, it does. It means how are you? How's it going?
And I love this one, sucking diesel.
Oh yeah.
Now, who would suck diesel anyway in a
I
million
don't know.
years?
Well, there are people out there that might.
Sucking diesel, now you're talking. Yeah.
Now you're talking.
Now you're doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a few
Pro tips.
others that I know
There's
as
a
well.
few, yeah.
And I'm going to have to think of them and we'll write them down ourselves.
We must do.
Think of our own little...
There's a few that are not on this list. Thank you, the listener who sent this in.
Yeah.
And
Keep sending them in,
ways to-
actually.
Yeah.
Send in funny things to us.
Absolutely,
because
absolutely.
I think, we talk about a few serious things, and it's nice to have a little giggle at the end
I
of
hope
it.
we weren't too heavy today, Mary. I don't think we were.
I don't think we were. We spoke about our lives.
I don't think it's in our nature to be heavy.
No, and I think we spoke about our lives, and we spoke about our experiences, our mothers.
Yeah.
And we got everything into it.
Absolutely.
And there's more questions that listeners have sent in. We will get to them on the next podcast.
Oh, absolutely.
And, keep listening in, because I tell you, it's going to get better. Remember this: we are only learning to do a podcast. Myself and Eilish.
And actually, we're only learning, love.
Yeah. Every day is a school day.
Every day is a school day. And I tell you what I'd love to talk about maybe next time is the menopause.
Huge.
Only because when I was going through the menopause, there wasn't any help whatsoever. Yeah. There wasn't any resources available. No. You just went through it. And I have to say, and I'd love to tell you what I was like going through the menopause.
We'll talk about it next time. We'll talk about next time. Also, we'll talk about how our mothers coped with it.
Oh, Jesus.
Way back when.
Absolutely.
So, and hopefully we'll have some messages in from yourselves, and you can tell us how you cope with it and what way your life went. Because the menopause can either upset your life or make you feel fantastic. For me, the sweats were there and all that stuff, but
she'll tell you more next time.
I'll tell you more next time.
Anyway, I'm going to say goodbye to you all, and thank you for listening. Say goodbye, Mary.
Goodbye, Mary.